Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to the first match of 2022. Today it's a exhibition match between five-time console champion Ducker and RR6 PC runner-up ChrisX3. And I am very excited to see some roulette in 2022, and I hope everyone in the chat as well, and I hope my co-caster is as well. Say hello to Punk.
Hello, Punk.
Yeah, I guess I combined a few too many things with that.
No, that's I had to be goofy. Hey, how's it going?
We have to be goofy for today's occasion. It's just it's not every day we have a show match with no stakes, no pressure. Just we get to see some good plays, hopefully.
Yeah, two very good players in the past few tournaments, and Ducker is just Ducker. I don't think he needs an introduction.
Definitely two of the best players of 2021, even if neither made it to the grand final. I guess the previous Roulette Rivals match, which was the December 12th grand final. But Ducker got third in there, and ChrisX3 went LB round 6 or 7, so could be another top 6, top 8 for him. So, of course, two of the very best. And they did say that not much practice lately, obviously, but I think the improvisation and the base skill set will guarantee us some great gameplay.
Yeah, that was this Ducker's second show match. Played against Frody last time.
That's right. Seems like a small tradition that's beginning, at least.
Maybe this is Ducker's version of roulette competition. He's taking on people every.
He is undefeated so far, that's for sure. And there was some.
Yeah, isn't he always whatever he's competing in, he's undefeated.
That was so true, yeah. So yeah, 15 seconds to go. Very quickly, I would talk about the format. We are going to see 6 maps of roulette today, at least. Well, that's the guaranteed part, and see if there's any extra. 6 maps over 3 seasons, 2 each, and I think one player picked one map from each season. We'll see Bangkok in a couple of seconds, followed by Hokkaido. From season 2 it's Miami, then Haven Island, and from season 3 Berlin, and then Mendoza. And spin number 1 is already here. Punk, what have we got as starters?
Jordan Cross with the fall as Morgan's bodyguard, and Ken the Brick Morgan with the silenced assault rifle as the hotel staff, aka Thanaboon.
I guess as a disclaimer, you can see the 30-minute timer already, and as a disclaimer that despite being a show match, there is still no rigging neither side. We are not going to see well, not necessarily the new conditions, which were announced 24 hours ago, nor is it made easier for these players. They wouldn't need it anyway.
Yeah, we're playing on the older patch of the roulette rule sets.
Yeah.
The stable one.
Oh boy, yeah, the new patch is going to be very exciting to figure out. Well, maybe to watch, not necessarily to play. Wouldn't really want to get Sean Scarecrow fired just yet.
You know the hotel owner ordered this cake specifically for his son, right?
Yeah, the RR7 participants will be the beta tester for those.
Look, you want me to deliver it?
Yep.
Deliver what, mate? The letter.
So Ducker is with an advantage and a vastly different strat. We'll see Chris approaching, I think, Ken and Otis from main start, probably with Seekers or Emetic Device in hand. But Ducker started with the Cake Topper. It's going to lure Jordan down one floor. And then also getting the letter, so that is a Ken manipulation.
He's also going in there for the camera. He's got an UMP in hand.
I rewatched the grand final, or I think the final matches at least a couple of days ago, and this is a fairly consistent part of Ducker's strategy, and no matter the spin, he will get rid of the cameras, Bangkok. Of course, it's a huge amount of pain getting rid of them late in the run.
Yeah, it's a good way of optimizing the route and the EMP there. Cameras makes the movement way more. You don't have to think about moving through the map anymore.
And he didn't lose any time because Ken is cycle based, and he will check out his letter no matter when you place it. It's always the same time. Chris did a restart. I think he had a great idea going with the very quick hotel staff lure, not even to the bathroom, which is I think the more popular strat, but the one that was popularized by Meme, going to lure him to the shed. And I think you don't even need to take care of Otis because you're just going to stand outside of this shed. But not first try, and now it's a Ducker restart as well.
Yeah, Ducker had a side KO on one of the can tosses on the guard, unconscious witness.
So I think we'll see some action first on Chris's side. Ducker will just do some preparations for the first 2 minutes again, and not too many escort strategies in the trilogy. I think this is the main one, where you disguise yourself as a hotel staff and just show Ken the route to his it's the Queen Suite, I think, his side. But of course it doesn't go as planned, and you can just isolate him in any other place. And you can see Otis on the right. He's not going to check Ken out.
Oh. Chris gets a bad timing from the groundskeeper, gets seen changing the disguise.
Yeah, that was the last thing he needed from this part of the map, the disguise, and then he would get up to the recording studio at a very good timing, and Jordan is still upstairs, although I think when he's upstairs there is no windows to dump him from, but it's a question for later. So it's time for Ducker to get the head turns right, or get a luckier head turn this time, because the letter is placed again and will be checked out by Ken at around 150, 155 again.
Both players running the same thing, just expecting to not make the same mistakes. There's Ducker, gets the tosses right this time. As you said, lucky head turn, because it wasn't as if he was looking the other way. He was still looking the same way.
Yeah. So Buddy's out in the open, it becomes a factor. But at some point, I was going to say 4 or 5 minutes, when the hotel owner gets around the atrium, then through the tuk-tuk area. Oh, and it's already found by...
It's like 2 floors up.
So it's a vertical place, but it's not this vertical. Very unlucky by Ducker, because it wasn't Ken, it wasn't deck crew 1 floor up. It's, I guess, 2 floors. That's definitely not intentional.
Chris is rerouting his strategy by having Otis reroute and have him be sick. Always going to the baguette basket.
That is a classic. It's probably the most infamous Hitman 3 patch, which rerouted all these emetics and made Bangkok even more cruel.
Chris has to knock out an extra chef for that, so he can safely take the disguise.
But because of the panic of the body being found, there is no enforcer dot on the key figures, and Chris is out in the public. With Ken already eliminated at 2.5 minutes.
Specifically for his son, right?
looking good for him so far.
Only son.
Yeah, it's a really fast strategy having Ken down already and have Otis.
What's going on?
These are toughest guys to get, and he gets through this area with no pistol, and that's why he had to dodge the camera so much.
Of course, one of them would look the way the hammer came from instead of looking the other way. At least it breaks them apart, so. Oh, but he's running, looking
no.
straight towards where Chris is. And the extra knockout that he had to use, he like could do with that now. Too bad he doesn't have that.
Second item will turn him around the right way, and yeah, Chris has a way to the recording studio now, and he will pick up this pool ball. Now he has something to knock out people with.
Says Queen Suite on the envelope.
I see.
Chris is virtually doing this no loadout because he's got no pistol to turn people around or panic.
And he got a very unlucky cycle on the...
Oh man.
So not Neil, but his friend, who looks at the TV, and then Neil, and
Oh,
I have no
that was
sound
a
on him.
real
Was it an
quick
empty?
compromise.
Yeah, it was very quick. Seemed like just a few pixels away from not being seen through the open door, but it was very close and very quick compromise. I think Chris has the... Well, not compared to Ducker, but Chris has a very strong strategy for this map. 2.5 minutes and
Chris, I
he
mean,
had everything.
doesn't really need to bring that gun, and he can just keep carrying on his assault rifle in the briefcase and use that as a gun later on, but he's opting to bring in a Krugermeyer.
Target down.
As
Now
things stand, he doesn't have a silenced AR in the loadout.
Right. So the silence AR can be repurposed, but it's not bringing that in. How's he gonna use a silenced AR? Oh wait, he's got a briefcase, but he's got a dart gun in there.
Yeah, two
I'm confused.
guns. Yeah, he has the Colmer and the Seeker, so... Oh, this will be a painful awakening in a few minutes.
Yeah, I mean Ducker has the kill, and he is carrying. So as Otis, he can just doesn't even need the briefcase, but he could have the briefcase until he gets Otis's disguise. Ducker also got Jordan on the same floor as him because of the numbers lure, the cake topper.
But this one I'm very interested in, because I don't think any of these windows to the rooftop are lethal, so it will either have to be a drop down the stairs or down to the tuk-tuk area, and neither seem very safe.
Oh, Chris is going for early Jordan.
Was my initial idea to get Jordan to this window balcony with a peekaboo around 1 minute, and then work on Ken, and of course after that you get the disguise and then just take a second trip up here, but it's unfortunate without an AR.
I know, but maybe.
Yeah, I mean it's a silenced AR on top of that too, so you'll have to think that maybe I'll get one, which I'm pretty sure there's no ARs in Bangkok.
And silenced weapons are not present in Season 1 period, unfortunately. I think Whittleton is the first one.
Here comes Ducker. He's got Jordan. Oh, good timing on the guards too, they're moving away. And there's Chris realizing he's missing a key ingredient from his recipe. Brings the gun back. And there's Ducker with the dump.
Both targets down.
Jordan falls on green, so does the guns that turn green for Ducker. All he has to do is go to the other side of the map. He's switching to the groundskeeper as well.
Yeah, one of the disguises that is certainly allowed back there. At least for Chris. He doesn't have to feel bad about it because it wasn't the AR that cost him the map. It wasn't this attempt, because Ducker is now with a 6-minute second or third try going to get the first map of this show match.
Yeah, Chris had a really good initial strategy, which would have worked with the loadout she had, but yeah, as some people say in chat, roulette brain might have kicked in. That happens.
Yeah, I cannot blame them at all, because they did mention that, of course, they don't really practice for this, and without that, this would be their first match in 1.5 months. So it's tons and tons of rust to get rid of over these maps and days.
Yeah, that's good. I'm not the only one who's rusty here then.
Oh, it is painful to get back.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, you might think, oh, he's just talking about the game, but yeah, man, me, I talk about it in a different way, so I would have to de-rust as well. But Hokkaido is next. Do we know who picked all these maps?
I was not given the list, but I'm... So it's 3 seasons and 2 maps each and 2 players each, so I would guess that, of course, it's one picks one from each season, and season 2 will be interesting, but I feel like Ducker is more of a Bangkok player, so that would
Yeah,
mean
I was just
Chris
gonna
is
say
Hokkaido.
it's Bangkok is a Ducker pick. I can say that with him on my sleeve, watching him for all these years. I'm
And
pretty sure I've said it at some point. Don't take Ducker to Bangkok.
Oh yeah. From season 3, it is of course Berlin and Mendoza. So
yeah, I wonder who picked Berlin.
Yeah, you have to be very new to the community to not guess this one correctly, or well, not guess this one the obvious way. We might be all tricked, but Chris is well, probably hands down the best Berlin player in the community, but his season 3 is just so strong all around. And it was a Chris with the answer. We both picked the maps equally, so it was probably some... They looked over the maps and just figured which would be nice for each season.
Yeah, probably some version of what we were talking about, one each from each season.
Yeah.
It's a good format to think about it.
It's really good to have 3 seasons, which are... I think they play differently. I think someone can be a season 1 specialist or season 2, 3. I could like say names who would be familiar with one season more than the others, but it would just make it sound like that they're not as good in the other seasons. Just, I think Frost is a good example. Who's incredibly knowledgeable across the whole trilogy, but he was grown up on the legacy maps, Paris to Hokkaido, so it will be always associated with him.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fair to say, I would say.
And of course the free phone training enthusiast.
Hawks Bay is the best. Two disguises. And then if you get fire, then yeah, that's a grand final spin.
Happened before.
Suit falling object or suit fire.
Always nice to read those adventures or see the pictures.
Yeah, I bet you saw some from me.
Yeah.
Something messing around.
I almost changed everything. I knew my overlay would be too difficult to handle. I'll read out the Hokkaido spin and then change the map to Hokkaido. It is Eric Soder's Throw the Heart into the Trash Can as a patient, and Yuki Yamazaki Scalpel as Jason Portman.
Patients spin. Both patients are doing some stuff that surgeons should be doing. Well, maybe not throwing the heart in the trash can, but
A very
usage of
rogue
scalpel.
patient or surgeon, yeah.
Yeah, this could be a mini comp, rogue patient mini comp. I don't know.
It's not a Sunday, but if it was a Sunday, it would be funny to see this in 38 minutes when the minicoms come out.
Oh yeah, live mini comp commentary. That's a historic moment.
Yeah. Chris nicely catching up on the loading screen. Tucker was a bit afraid about this one, but it's a show match then. No one is that afraid of winning or losing because of loading times. Different starts, however. Chris will get the Portman disguise early on. And Tucker with the gondola, I think, just getting Yuki down.
Chris is trying to get Jordan to come inside, but that door closes as soon as he leaves the door. So he's got to stay close enough.
Former lawyer to the Yakuza.
The backup throw, luckily, works out, and it usually works out. I have lots of troubles when I can't throw the briefcase through the closing door. That's my only chance, and Tucker can't get his first isolation down. So it is a minute advantage, plus or minus a couple of seconds for Chris. Gets the Seeker in the last second. So he should have everything but the scalpel. But I think the route is being visualized right now. Isolation, and then we get a patient disguise, the free one or one close to it. I'll continue after this isolation finishes because this is scary. Okay, Chris gets one KO down and the other one will work out. And after the patient, it will be a trip to the morgue and get the scalpel in there. And after the kill, he can just come back here and then exit gondola.
Yep, that looks all but set up, and while he's gonna go to throw the heart, he's gonna grab the scalpel. Just gotta watch out for the hospital director in that disguise. No Jason Portman to worry about, you can leave that body behind.
Yeah. I'm curious what the approach will be for the heart, because it's not a shoot the heart condition. You do need to get in that room and get rid of those two bodyguards.
Oh yes, I am too. My favorite one is to just be a morgue doctor and just make the room so cold so they leave.
Very underrated item.
Absolutely,
the wrench.
because they don't even see you. It's perfectly set up in a way where it's just you can do the illegal action and it's covered.
Yeah, very handy, and lots of disguises are allowed in that tiny room. So
yeah,
it's nice to see.
Anything
but of course,
with a plus sign on it is allowed.
Yeah.
I think.
Talking to his doctor. I think he overstretched her.
Yeah, I can't confirm all of it, but it sounds reasonable.
I think I might be wrong. It might just be surgeons though. No, because the morgue doctors only have a plus. So I want to say it's plus and above. Yeah, plus and the security. So doctors and securities.
Ah, there we go.
This is what he sold out the ICA for.
He's going to be
Including the director. Ooh, some foot shot.
Gets both of them down, and it's a skippable cutscene as of Hitman 2, so no time to worry about this one. Maybe it was skippable in Hitman 1. Anyway, that's the first kill down, and scalpel in hand in inventory now. So it's just back to patient Portman for the second kill.
Very efficient from Chris. Tucker knocking out the Morph Doctors.
Maybe you can tell me, is it true the boss...
It's a cleaver. I wonder if he figured the cleaver would be the scalpel, so the other way around. But you can use the cleaver too. Well, throw it and then distract one guard and then get it down with one KO.
That's both targets down. Time to find an exit. We're done here.
But we won't really see the strategy in full because Chris at just under 5 minutes will finish Hokkaido and gets on the board, winning his first map.
Yeah, well done from Chris. Tucker, he was looking for a better opportunity to shoot the two guards with the trank.
Season 1 done and one map siege as we were hoping for.
Most likely each their own picks as well. Can't confirm, but likely. Oh, that's a nice animation. Tucker not opening the door even though he's 47's using his hand.
Yeah, Decker got it as well, and in game time wise it will be very close. Just a couple restarts extra for him will deny the 4-0.
Does Tucker have some staticky sound coming from him? I thought it was my headset.
I did have to mute him. And good point, I messaged him about it. Yeah, I changed sources when I noticed it as well.
Okay. I didn't want to say it in the middle of the spin, but okay. I'm glad my headphone's not broken.
Yeah, I was scared
Miami
as well.
is next.
I think Chris had a 450, so... Oh, this
Yeah,
would have been a
Tucker's try would have been faster.
Yeah.
441.
But he also exits Hokkaido, so don't have to delay the spin. Of course, we wouldn't be mean to them. I just told Ducker not to worry about it, and I guess we'll work with one sound source. That's enough for me personally in streams.
Right. Well, for me, 0 is enough.
Yeah, it depends on the players.
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah. If players also have microphones, then that's a factor.
So on to season 2, Miami. The most amount in disguises, all of them are legal as of a very long time ago, but I remember times when we didn't have drivers or sheep.
Yeah, some of the drivers, like the Aeon drivers, can be a bit tricky to get to if you're not too familiar with how to get them out of their little pigeonhole they're in.
I guess just a nice proof of how the community's roulette knowledge evolved, that we went from banning and then allowing the drivers to now talk about the hostile fire for all Colorado targets. And never, still not quite over that one, but it will take a few more days and then. Yeah, lots and lots of disguises and kill methods allowed throughout the years. Actual years now. It's been more than 2 years since the first Roulette Rivals, which was January 2020.
It's crazy how long it has been.
Exactly. Map number 3, Miami. Would you like to run it down?
Yeah, Loud Pistol as the waiter for Sierra Knox and Loud Explosive Weapon as the Aeon Mechanic for Robert Knox. So yeah, it's like we have another theme here, and it's loud for both.
It's loud for both. At least it's probably the more manageable combination of loud, because this opens up a early Robert isolation and just place a loud duck next to him, which is always going to be safe for 3 seconds anyway. On the other hand, starting with Sierra is just very straightforward with the waiter, and that's what Chris is doing, and we'll probably, yeah, snag a Bartoli from this security. Very nicely done. And then Ducker does the other strategy, which the one I was talking about first, early Robert and then exit detonation. Yeah, this one will be hard to call until the very end. It happens sometimes when people go entirely different routes.
Yeah, two different approaches completely, so.
Oh, Ducker is going to be very interesting to see, because
You're the junior slip wrench who got injured yesterday.
so most people just do the laptop at the start even, but Ducker has a different idea. It will include the peekaboo and shooting the windows, so let's just see. It's the peekaboo on Robert, and he and his guard will enter this storage room. And then with the windows opened, you can just throw items through it, and because you're in cover, that's not going to compromise you, and there's the isolation.
Yeah, that's a really good use of in-game techniques and methods. It shows the expertise of Ducker. Nicely executed. Chris is going for the tried and tested method on Sierra Knox. Should have her down in about 20 seconds. And Tucker even doing the stair slide.
Yeah, very solid start by both. Chris will have a very quick first kill down, and then the disguise, and then the very usual laptop isolation for Robert.
Oh, the door stayed open.
Oh.
Take me for a fool?
How often does he just come in and stop right in front of the door? That's classic Chris gameplay, though. He will get compromised where it's like a very, very low chance. Personalized copy.
Yeah, he likes to show us all
That's
these rare
unfortunate.
bugs. It's exactly just unfortunate, and I would have loved to see which strat is faster, especially because Ducker is not going for sugar. He got the dongle. We'll end the race after getting a waiter from this kitchen, and we'll show another very nice kill with Sierra being killed before she enters the garage. It's a spoiler for this kill. And might just be that this quick race ending would have been the winning one anyway from Ducker. It's going to be really hard to tell now.
You're the junior slip wrench who got injured yesterday, right? Sierra's coming in. Everyone on your stations, now!
Yeah, Tucker is looking really solid here. I mean, he still does have to get the mechanic, which isn't much of a problem. If it was the driver, it would be a little different.
Yeah, and for Ducker... okay, so it is going to be peekaboo. I was thinking that he would show his...
Yeah, I thought so too. Shoot from the security room.
It may just be that the timing is too good. He didn't have time to KO these two, because Sierra is already stopped, and I think it's almost time to get the peekaboo.
There's Chris again with the kill.
Target down. Next up, Robert Knox.
This time he's making sure the door is closed. The guy stopped here again. I hardly have ever had that happen, where he stopped in front of the door.
It's incredible. Why would you get closer to the gunshots? But this person does apparently. And Chris is out, and
Sierra didn't come in all the way.
ooh.
Oh. Toss distraction allowed him to do a second peekaboo.
This carriage is not cooperating today so far, but Chris has the mechanic, has the first kill.
Oh, no, he didn't get spotted. Because he stopped trespassing in the middle of the vault.
Oh my goodness.
Blue Sea, ladies and gentlemen. Sponsor of the
He's just going to go the other way around. He wants none of those suiting forces either, or crowding forces. And he will make his way to the laptop now. And Dakar is getting closer to the Aeon garage.
Right now. I just saw a fight downstairs by the garage.
Yeah, Tucker, all he has to do is just grab one of these guys and he's good. He even has a calmer. Which is not needed because he's the only one here. Oh. Chris.
I have to say I missed that one.
new champion is on the way
Yes.
to the celebration.
Not very happy about that.
Let's get those
Was it just an enforcer or?
young bottles lined up.
Yeah, must have been. A bunch of security guys. That's. Chris is calling it quits and Tucker is almost on his way to the exit.
Yeah, once again, timing wise, it wouldn't have changed the outcome, but it's unfortunate for Chris can't get this run going.
Tucker playing it a bit safe here now. He's coming around through the security room. Interesting, not going for the free one. The medic disguise, which he needs to exit.
I guess the only concern is that this is closer.
Yeah, that is my guess would be too. Robert falls on top of his guard's body as Tucker exits 649.
Some nice ragdolls, and yeah, nice timing as well. It would have been really, really competitive with the Sugar plus laptop mode. So, map number 4 is Haven. So, let us find the last resort.
It appears that Chris had the Aeon Mechanics body found. That's interesting. I wonder if it had anything to do with him being in that trespassing section.
Yeah, it's probably the... So other than I have no explanation, that would be my only guess, what you said. And then it is Haven next. Some very nice place so far, but the game is showing that it has something spicy to show in the new year, sadly. Unfortunate trips as well.
This ain't a gym, buddy.
She's not even.
Tucker's sound seems to be working again, so let's switch back to him. Chris made a very good point when we talked about the conditions, which one to use, the old one or the new one, is that the way they pick the maps, probably unintentionally, because I'm not sure how the timeline worked out yesterday, but the way they picked the 6 maps, only one, this one Haven, has changed conditions. The other 5 had none, which is quite funny considering that 10 of the 18 maps have some changes. And
I think that kind of shows that which maps are probably more enjoyable to play and competitive as well. I mean, not saying that the other ones that weren't picked aren't. Some of them aren't, I would say.
but it's
But
not
6
much
to 8 maps sounds about right to me from the trilogy in any given competition. I might be biased towards that idea that I told you before.
Yep. And we hear it from time and time again that people are afraid to join when it's 18 maps to learn.
Yeah. It's a lot to learn for somebody who just, let's say, bought the game or is playing the game through Game Pass, for example.
Don't get me started
Game
on
did come out
poor,
last month.
Yeah, and poor Game Pass players don't even have expansion pass.
Oh yeah, I had that happen. It's funny. It was like, if you're giving me my Xbox profile, why not my Xbox DLCs?
Yeah, the complete trilogy missing 2 of the main mission maps is unfortunate, to say the least. Haven is here, Tyson Williams' Explosion Accident as Resort Guard, Stephen Bradley, Barbara Razor as Villa Staff, Ludmila Vetrova, Cleaver as the Lifeguard. I'm saying as the Lifeguard as if it would be unique. It's not unique, but they will go for the same one, I can promise you.
Yeah, and there's sadly no theme here, so unless if all of them are staff.
I know you went quiet to find some sort of connection. I couldn't either, unfortunately.
Yeah, you know me too well at this point. Well, let's just hope, speaking of, well, no one was speaking, but I'm sure everybody was thinking about the wall hacks. And these players know it. They have experienced it, so they know how to avoid it. Hopefully it doesn't happen unintentionally.
Exactly, and this is a kind of spin which can be run-of-the-mill or somewhat straightforward. Nothing is too special about this one, no rare accidents or poisons, so chances are they have done plenty of very similar spins to this, so they would be very familiar with the Oleg situation.
Yeah, and it's a very friendly spin in terms of, like, you can set up Tyson, you can start as the Villa staff with that propane, and then take that Villa staff, which is required outside the Villa. So I would say one of the friendlier spins, and for feeling good today. Not taking revenge on the falling object Hokkaido on Chris.
This is a nice callback. Yesterday I kind of asked for it when we were talking about the new conditions and people realizing it mid-match if it's legal or not, and of course I had a similar situation which you casted, that falling object Yuki and hostile disguise is also fair play, but it was fine.
It's like, yeah, staying on the edge of that line, not crossing it.
Yeah, luckily none of these are close to that, and just going to be generally a fairly forgiving Haven spin. Just Haven is not being forgiving in general, but Chris is having Tyson isolated. 140 gets 2 coins, which are good for NPC manipulation, but not quite sure which NPC that would be. Oh, I promised
Chris
my
grabbing
son.
everything he needs from the villa. Oh,
Yeah, he gets everything. Can exit with the one disguise which is in here and the one item which is not only here. It's also in 47's Shark Hut, but it's not the kind of spin where you usually get there. There are some spins where you start in suit, but this is very nice for a villa. It has been so long, but I believe it's 4 minutes and just over 2 when you can reasonably seek her Steven, but maybe you can do it in the first 3 minutes when he's standing out there. I think that's what Chris is going for.
yeah, he just barges in, gets the shot done.
Yeah, because very
And
soon
here's another
after,
disguise. Yeah, when he talks to CJ, it's a
he
long
hides
walkout.
himself. Yeah,
Yeah.
Chris will dodge the enforcer. Villagard knows his people. Oh, can get through the door. Not much time is lost here, but we'll get the isolation, and he has everything for Steven, so that's 1 kill.
And once he gets Ludmilla, he will have Tyson's kill done too, because Ludmilla walks around with that disguise.
And Chris is having none of it anymore. He will lure the lifeguard in here because there is a single-digit percentage chance, I'd say. I think it's much more likely than 90%.
I think it's probably multiplied by about 80 for Chris.
Yeah. He just gets everything the game has to offer, but this was a safe way to get the lifeguard. And it is now time to get to the restaurant and get a seeker shot on Ludmilla.
Yeah, Chris is making really good time here, while Ducker has to wait out. Chris is actually ahead in game time-wise. Ahead in a sense he's got less time played. I know roulette it's backwards. You're ahead if your time is longer.
That's the way we can we can quantify it, I guess. But it is obvious that despite less in-game time, Chris has made more ground on this map, and Ducker gets the. It's another staple strategy. Ducker peekaboos and throws to get these 2 NPCs in the room, and then it's a nice Tyson isolation. It will be not quite live, but he has everything here. These guys at least, and propane aren't far away.
Nice throw by Chris. He's trying to get rid of the chef so he can take a safer shot at Ludmilla. He was so early that he can do like other stuff. Or he's taking the disguise. Is he gonna do make food for her?
So I would say the cleaver is his main motivation, and I think so. He gets the shot on Ludmilla if possible. Nice whooshes, and after that he gets the cleaver. Which is of course here. I was switching the 2 up. I thought the kitchen knife is in here and the cleaver is in the tiki bar, but I guess it makes more sense this way.
You're timing the hand wash too. He's coming out of the bathroom, so one less to worry about.
Plenty of darts remaining. Chris can take it as safe as he wants, and yeah, the finish is in sight because after the 2nd kill, the 3rd disguise, he can get the detonation on Tyson, and nothing is certain in this game, but that will be an explosion accident with a small taser.
Before Tyson got electrocuted.
Yeah, it would be.
That would be a Chris thing again. That
Yeah.
would totally be a Chris thing. We would just attribute that to Chris's game. Alright, here's the kill on Ludmilla. Swap disguise and walk for the
Targets remaining.
boat. But Ducker also gets the kill on Tyson Williams.
Excellent work.
A loud SMG with the on the propane tank.
Not an instant exit, but a fairly quick one, and nothing goes wrong for Chris. A very nice first try. Ties it up again in Haven. It's 4-4 now. Which means it's season 3 now, and Daka realized immediately, so we don't have to wait for his spin to finish.
Looks like the group chat method might be more effective than the done button. Getting players to know the match is actually done.
Yeah, pings are very efficient.
I would Chris is saying, yeah, no Rolf. I would say that too, and just pick the garden fork.
I think this will be fine. I think an obvious Rolf would have been respawn. This is not it, to say the least.
Chris's game crashed. Looks like, oh
Wow.
yeah, I can even hear that Windows.
He had some frames per minute this time around. So it's 2 minutes 15 to go. I think he will get back into the game, but if it's looking close, then he'll get another minute.
Just let you drop shit around like that, mister.
I'm sorry I'm delayed, but someone must have moved my bike, and I can't find my, allergy pills. They seem to have just gone. Like kaput. Well, yeah, I'm looking. It's very annoying. Get the hell out of
Ducker with the first person glitch. Still working 30 months into the game.
It's a feature.
Yeah, at this point.
Hey, that's how you play VR mode in non-VR headset, people.
It's looking like
It's
a more
better
stable
to-
VR as well.
Yeah, exactly. You get to see your objectives and map, instinct in full.
Might just be if this
Ducker
can
is
be
using
consistent.
the emetic device to open the door.
Oh man, if this can be done consistently, I think it would be a very fun condition. Like first roulette, but in first person mode.
Yes, in like GTA 5, there's like some things you can lock to first person mode, and there's
Yeah.
even a challenge doing a bunch of missions.
Oh,
Yeah, that would be interesting. In the early stages, people hated them because first person, like, it just feels too tunnel visioned. You can't see around you. So it was an actual challenge for people who didn't like first person. Yeah, I'd be interested in that.
it would be a nice switch up. Anything would be a nice, refreshing thing.
Yeah.
Nice, Chris is back as well. 18 seconds to go. Hopefully no Ducker crash. I think he has lost... Oh, he has lost very recent matches, but he has lost other matches in the past. So unfortunately, these are two people who aren't too lucky on the technical side in general, but this exhibition match has been going well so far, and we have map number 5 if you would like to run it down, Punk.
Map number 5 is Berlin, the 5 agents need to be eliminated using consumed poison as the technician, fall as the DJ, injected poison in the suit. That rules out the Rolf strat, and silent shotgun as the biker, and finish it off with an explosive accident as the dealer.
Luckily, this is fairly
Very
far
nice.
away from any kind of Rolf shenanigans.
Yes, I'll send you a internet cookie for that.
And Chris will let me handle more of his show matches in the future, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not fired. Not sure how important it is to note, but Ducker has been consistently the first one to load in. And it's not important for a show match, but Ducker is really in the zone. He knows immediately what loadout to go for, and you don't really see him replan either.
Yeah, and I think the way Chris is approaching it is how I approach Berlin too. When you play too much, you just have to run the spin through your head.
Mm-hmm.
That takes an extra 30 seconds, but then probably takes minutes off of the actual spin.
So true. It's a time management. You even if you take your time with loading, that gives you even more time to think of the more risky situations and how to get through them, and that minimizes restart as well. So both starting on the roof, of course, with a suit spin, that's tradition, but neither starting with the injected poison kill. And I think the reason for that is that they would like to get the syringe from Banner, which Tucker has lured up. I think Chris will soon as well.
Agent 47 is on site. Moving in.
Good work.
Chris is setting up the top guy for the bottom disguise kill.
Mm. It's a nice optimization if you can do it remotely, which he does. So many bottom disguises. Technician, DJ, dealer, all can be found on the bottom floor, and biker in Rolf's office, and I guess you can make it happen with your suit. But
These are amateur mistakes. You need to do better.
Yeah, all the disguises here. The suit, if you consider it a disguise, it's a starting disguise. Everything else can be found down at the bottom. It was almost a roll spin, except because there's no falling object. There is a consumed poison though, so that probably would have rolled out the Rolf part. I mean, you always have an option on Lowenthal as your consumed poison guy.
yeah, it would be 4 kills at best, and you have to be careful or precise with the injected poison suit kill, which Ducker does in the open. Not quite, but gets it on spawn.
Chris uses Lowenthal.
Agent Swan, are you still there?
And that is the silent shotgun for Chris, number 4. No, he got the injected right as well.
He's shot.
Yeah, he's got the injected on Lowenthal. He's Ducker has Thames rear. He's leaving the shotgun for him, so he'll probably kill him with that. Just needs a biker.
Already looking for the exit strategy with the dealer. Chris is checking the spin twice, but gets the biker kill, which is number 4. Oh, it's not just the exit strategy. Lowenthal will be the consume poison kill for Ducker. Apologies.
They're both doing the same thing. I mean, Chris is going for Davenport, who will take a little bit, but that gives Chris time to go down for his other 2 disguises, the dealer and the DJ.
So the Lowenthal cycle is in itself a minute or so, a minute and a half rather. And then the second cycle, Davenport, is... Chris knows best, but I think it's also around 5 minutes, so just over a minute from now.
Yeah. That is indeed correct.
So they will get 1 kill closer. They will both do that. But Chris will be on 3 out of 5 plus a explosive setup. Tucker is on 1. 1 plus 1 is just 2, and he's now only getting the lure or the explosion accident on Banner. I think he's not quite sure which one he wants to explode and which one he wants to shoot with a shotgun.
Chris needs to kill time, so he's gonna do some role playing with the dealer. He's gotta watch out for the door enforcer.
Nice to see him make it to year 2 as well, ruining so many runs.
Yeah. So yeah, both players waiting out the consumed poison. Chris will get his first right at the top of 5 minutes.
It is a 3-1 lead, but Tucker will not be far away now.
It will be 4-1 very soon. He's about to pop the explosive accident. There it goes.
There we go. And which leaves him with Flawless DJ. And I think he killed everyone on the staircase. Green was the explosion accident and Banner was the shotgun, which means well, I'm too rusty for this to predict which agent would be the fall accident. Oh, Ducker.
Ducker gets in fist fight with Montgomery. Speaking of Montgomery, he would be a good candidate for a fall, but not sure who Chris wants to go for. Montgomery does come through these stairs. That's where Ducker... Yeah, there you go. That's exactly right.
Nice timing.
He's not going to go for it, though. Or, I don't know what Chris is doing. He might go for Swan, though. He still has Swan. Ducker's the one who killed Swan.
Oh,
so that's an easy push kill wherever he wants.
What?
Question
Chris is
where...
making...
What are you doing, man?
Yeah.
I was going for a triple shot?
With the SMG in hand, I would say so, yes.
Interesting. He can't get a shot, though. There we go. Yep, there it is.
So this one is far less frequent than Banner, and I have seen people ask about it. It seems that with this timing and placement works without any problem, and I assume the same would be the case one cycle earlier. This one just goes right up here, probably not followed by anyone. He was the one who found the Banner on the way, so should be green guns very shortly.
Go, go. Don't let him slip through your fingers. No games, no cat and mouse, just get it done.
Yeah, with the restart for Ducker and the last kill done for Chris, this is basically over. Chris will take his own map pick.
One last toss for the delivery guy and his keys.
Like Chris is done. So last map of the trilogy, last map of the showcase match, show match. Mendoza, right?
Right. And this is 6-4. And Ducker also has a good question. Why didn't the consume poison guy die? But I guess we'll let you guys know if Chris knows better. I'll just spin up a Mendoza.
I don't know if I have seen. Maybe he didn't ring the bell. That is weird. Lowenthal should.
Yeah, everything looked fine for him. And 3 minutes and a bit to go. And Chris also entertaining the idea of a raw floor for the 4 kill. Of course, he doesn't like it when it's the only strategy of a spin. It varies things up very nicely if it's done for 2 or 3 kills at the end. Which wasn't the case, but it's still a very nice first try. And I think it's another Chris crash, and it's so unfortunate.
Oh, another one.
Yep, that is all we see so far, so... Might just be a minute or 2 delay. Game freezes and loading menus pretty regularly. That's a very intensive part of a game, so can't really blame his equipment.
Yeah, it
basically. And yeah, and Daka just says that he wishes his game crashed between maps.
yeah.
It is still too soon for him, probably. It can't really happen again because the rules have changed to, I guess, nullify results if the crash was the deciding factor. I think that's one way to explain it. There would be a respin if a person...
I got a lot of questions with that explanation, but sure.
So the way I understood it is, of course... So I guess the spins are now going to be played out completely, crashes or not, and after the result is set, people will argue if the crash was the deciding factor or not, and then if that's the case, then the map will have to be respawned.
But what if the crash affects you mentally? That is a deciding factor how you play, no? It doesn't count.
Yeah.
I guess. Anyways, I will probably...
No, I understand.
Zip up.
It is... yeah, lots going on with these rules, and then just... it's a good direction, I guess. If
yeah, for
the
sure.
alternative is nothing that we can do, I guess then hopefully it results in more fairness. Not that the previous system wasn't fair, because it was said in advance that how it would go, but it will be a different times from R7, and a different spin is here. Dan Yates, Falling Object as lawyer, and Tamara Vidal, AR as the Providence Herald. And Ducker got me scared for a second because he was still in a shootout, but I think a couple of seconds into the spin he went back into the loading menu, and then he's already getting of course an AR and red tie kiwi. No, should just let him pick his loadout first.
The trend is maintained here. Ducker loading in first. Quick pick of the loadout.
I guess there is the potential for a very straightforward isolation on Tamara and then Dawn. And then the interesting part of the spin would be getting the two disguises. But these aren't the two hardest ones. So can be very similar strategy for both of them.
What was that?
Yeah, Tucker with a slight lead. Chris has replanned and swapped the bubblegum with a flash phone.
Couple bumps is always necessary to get everyone else out of the way. I think Tamara's bodyguard becomes Diana's bodyguard if only one of the two is in proximity or something like that, because he won't follow her anymore and Tamara can be isolated like that.
Chris gets compromised. Yeah, the lady coming up the stairs.
So Tucker's advantage increases to now 85 seconds. Which can be quite important in a straightforward spin like this. Gets a distraction shot on the couple.
What do you think that noise was? Someone should go see.
Dunning forces his wife. And Tucker gets both KOs and Dunn will be dragged under the chandelier. Both players brought in a breaching charge for the winch. One of the few important winches in the second and third seasons. That should kill, but Tucker makes it sure that it will be in range of Dunn.
Chris goes for the safer KO, the around the I don't even know what that is, the bush surroundings.
Yeah.
Because going over it is a lot, like, caused him to get seen by that lady coming up the stairs.
Yeah, with that out of the way, you can now get the Dawn isolation, and yeah, Tucker went for a different strat. This is the meta, I guess, or the one used most often, but Valentina also turns around, not just Dawn. That's also something quite rare and quite unfortunate in another Chris restart. So for Tucker, it is the two disguises that remains. Targets are in position with all the weaponry. And this is a Chandler which I haven't seen either. It's going to be the same flower bed, I guess, for the Herald than Tamara. If there is no lady, then it is a safe down.
Yeah, she just passed, so it's definitely safe.
Everyone's right here. So that is the first kill down, and Tucker's just missing the lawyer, but that will be interesting to see where the lawyer will be around this time. I think it is under 4 minutes when he gets going, so it would be the lavender field or the upper and lower gardens according to heat maps. But we'll see. Chris gets the KO and the isolation, and I don't think the mercenary heard it.
No way. Guys like Yates don't retire.
Which means there is the setup for Chris. And he also has the agency pick-up in the edict, so to maybe make his way up.
Tucker just missed the lawyer talking to the rare bird. Oh, and he enforces the other guests, so.
Yeah, that's a delay. Although, oh,
Oh.
surely he's not going to keep this strategy. I think we'll have to wait until the lawyer's in the garden. But it is a setback for Ducker for sure.
Yeah, it gives Chris a little bit of time to catch up. Not sure if that will be enough. I mean, the lawyer's getting frisked right now.
So if Chris goes lawyer first and spends no time with the disguise, and then it might be close, but it's still a exit kill for Ducker. He's only missing the disguise. But it is a long discussion. Fortunate for Ducker. He's enjoying it a lot.
Now enough of this foolishness. Let me through.
Okay, I'm just messing with you. Step right in, Junior.
Chris finally has his assault rifle set next to Tamara. Has to go for a Providence Herald.
He might be going for this flower bed, which is also 2 distractions away, or a flash phone away, with its extended range, of course. And it is just so clever how only the male herald hears it.
Yeah, that's a good showcase of audio mastery from Chris.
Who's there?
How it works in this game. Probably like just part of that circle of audio range.
And with that, Chris will get the first kill down, but he will get to the lawyer even later, which means it's bad for him because he can't get him in the parking lot, but it's good for him because he might not have to listen to the conversation. But I think it is a moot point because Ducker is closing in on the exit, and I think the boat key is also in this hut, so gets the key and detonates and exits very soon.
Yeah, Ducker is ready to go, just waiting for his exit to appear.
I forgot about the 12 seconds, it's been so long.
Yeah, there we go. Ducker finishes, and I think, I don't know, from what I've seen, it's probably they have won their own picks throughout the whole match here. Evens it out at 6-6.
Even if it was mutual, we could still assign the map to each player, and they did win the maps that we predicted them to do better on. And yeah, the result is a nice tie. Great fair result between 2 of the best. Yeah, Ducker is a bit unwell. Sorry to like disclose it in front of people, but we're just discussing what happens next because it's a tie, and of course someone may feel like playing more. Ducker may feel like calling it a day. We'll see, and if, of course it depends on Chris, who is unaware that the spin has ended.
Oh, I think Chris did see the done, I would say.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not.
Oh yeah, he reacted. My bad.
No, that might also be a reaction to him failing back to back.
And there's the exit from Chris. So in a couple minutes, we'll see what happens next. I want to say the people demand more, but so far it's Halbert saying that. Still nice to see the reaction at least. I just would be lying if I said the people.
You in which army?
Yeah. And it's so fitting. Chris would rather call it a tie than play Paris, which is, I think it's a very fair result for these two players, and it was a really wonderful evening of.
I think Mr. Mike would like them to play Romania.
Yeah. Yeah, we need a Mr. Mike Showmatch, but who will he get as a partner for Romania? For 5 or 6 Romanias in a row? So yeah, this is the final result, 6-6 between ChrisX3 and Ducker. Once again, ChrisX3. Yeah, I mean it's a very long list of achievements for both of them. ChrisX3 is second in RR6 on PC. He had a 3rd and 4th place finishes from the regular RRs. Made it very far in the World Championship and won the Roulette Raceway 2 multi-week community event. And well, Ducker has 5 console titles, so that is speaks for itself. But both are amazing players, and just a very awesome way to get some matches going before the actual thing. RR7 starting on Friday. Sign-ups ending on the 9th. So that would be Sunday evening, I guess. Yes. And then that would put the bracket draw on Thursday the 10th, which is always a very exciting time. But yeah, less than a week to go now, and then it's 3 weeks and a bit more of non-stop roulette. At least it's not the 300 plus matches over 7 weeks, which was really tiring for everyone, I think. But yeah, back to the regular thing this time.
We're still feeling it.
It is great. It is tiring. I think it's how I would describe it. GKPunk.
I agree.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you joining me, and this was great fun. I hope it was great fun for the players. It seemed like positive reactions, and thank you chat and everyone watching. And less than a week to go, and lots and lots of more roulette coming up. But for now, thank you everyone, and good night.
See ya.